The New York Daily News out with a fiery front page cover after Donald Trump won the South Carolina primary. But he's not the object of ridicule this time. Instead, the voters are. The News calling them dunces for choosing Trump. And it's just one of many media attacks on Trump supporters. Fox News media analyst Howard Kurtz touches on in his latest column. Here to talk about it, Alan Colmes, the host of The Alan Colmes Show, nationally syndicated by Fox News Radio, and Cal Thomas, a syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. The thing that Howard Kurtz points to, Alan, he says that the media firewall against Donald Trump is to blame voters for continuing to support him, saying they must be dummies or racists. Does Howard have a point?
Well, that's one headline in one newspaper that's been doing provocative headlines for a while, but we know that Trump supporters overall tend to be less educated, tend to be older. He retweets white supremacists. He gets up and he says, waxes poetic about bullets in pig's blood shooting Muslims. And this is the kind of stuff that I guess some people find appealing. This is what he's saying on the campaign trail. So why should we be surprised?
So instead of blaming the messenger, Cal, they're blaming the people who vote for the messenger? Is that how it goes?
Apparently so, John. In my column tomorrow, I'm quoting a verse from Scripture, 2 Timothy, or as Donald Trump would put it, 2 Timothy. In the end, people will believe whatever their itching ears want to hear, and the Trump followers don't demand any facts from him. Chris Wallace on this network has asked Trump some very tough questions about specifics on how he would do things. All he does is give generic answers that have nothing to do with the question. Glenn Kessler in yesterday's Washington Post, the fact checker, looked at Trump's claim he's going to save $300 billion on the cost of drugs by apparently negotiating new deals with the pharmaceutical companies. But Kessler says that's 4 times the cost of the current Medicare system, and he'll either have to give the drugs away free or do something nobody's ever thought about before. These are crazy things that have no basis in facts. And I'm sorry to say I agree with the Daily News. They're just dunce followers.
And also the media does not seem to be pressing him on the very things Cal's talking about. He does these interviews. He's not asked about how he flip-flops in one sentence. He says he's a free trader but would tax China 35–45% and excise taxes. He flip-flops all the time. His feet are not held to the fire. And the media, I think, has fallen down on the job in terms of getting him to respond and actually put out serious policy ideas.
So, well, I would say, Alan, I just follow up on that they are, some of them are asking serious questions. I just mentioned Chris Wallace and others. But if you're not getting an answer, and Chris has asked some questions 2 or 3 times when Trump didn't answer, then what do you do? I mean, you can't just keep browbeating him if he's not going to answer. And his failure to answer and give specifics, I think, conveys very important information. He doesn't have them or is not willing to reveal them.
But if Howard Kurtz is right, Alan, I mean, is that a result? If you can't get answers from the candidate, do you then turn around and blame his supporters for his success?
Well, his success is because you've got, I think, some people who don't care about the answers, who are attracted to the cult of personality. They're people who, look, Trump resonates with people viscerally, but not intellectually, not rationally. It doesn't matter what he says. Here's a guy who goes to South Carolina, puts down the Bush family, puts down the entire, Dick Cheney said he sounded like a liberal when talking about the Iraq War. It doesn't matter what he says because he's not speaking rationally to the rational parts of people's brain.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about Bernie Sanders on the other side. It's a bipartisan hate of all things Washington.
Cal, what about the prospects, though, of Donald Trump wrapping up this Republican nomination? I mean, the media must have grown comfortable with that.
Well, the train has left the station here, and we got Union Station right behind me, and I think it's a high-speed train. I don't see any way to stop him right now. I mean, there may be something, there may be someone, maybe when they get to the South, cooler heads will prevail. But as of now, and you always have to say as of now because this has been the most unpredictable political season that I've ever seen, and I started paying attention during the Kennedy-Nixon election of 1960. I've never seen anything like this. So anybody who thinks they know how it's going to turn out, they don't have a clue.
The times they are a-changing. Cal Thomas.
Thank you.
Alan Colmes.
Thank you.
Thank you both.